Immigrants are coming into Canada in record numbers, but just like Canadians, they're also leaving in record numbers. Take off, eh? Some people are saying before they even grow into some of the customs here in Canada. Immigrants are leaving Canada increasingly in this country for opportunities elsewhere, according to a study conducted by the Institute of Canadian Citizenship, the Conference Board of Canada. In fact, the number of immigrants who have left Canada rose by 31% above the national average. 31%, is that of the numbers that are coming in? Because those numbers are getting crazy. We're going to get into some of those numbers here in a minute. In 2017 and 2019, factors that influence onward migration include economic integration, a sense of belonging, racism, some people say that's a thing, home ownership, wow, that's a big deal, or a lack thereof, and economic opportunities in other countries, the report revealed. And this is something that I've been reporting on, as well as Canadians are leaving the country. This is an article from True North reported on yesterday. Canadians are fleeing the country in record numbers, data shows. But this isn't stopping our government from trying to open up the floodgates just to get more people in here to protect our social programs. That they largely would be the bottom of the pyramid scheme on those. And some people are cluing in and they're saying, no, I'm out. I'm taking off. This I pulled from Instagram. This is a guy saying he's leaving Canada. See you later.
Are you moving back to India permanently? Yeah. I'll be moving back to India. I'm leaving Canada. This is just not the right place for me. I've been here for more than 3 years. I've tried a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of stuff. I was in Toronto for 2 years. I was in Winnipeg for 1 year. It just does not feel like home. Do you realize you're about to break the internet? It's fine. The reverse immigration, it has been the highest I have seen it. Nobody feels good here. Nobody feels like this is the home for them. This is a harsh truth. I mean, some people would be happy here as compared to India, but that's not just the case for me. So
this is just the reality of the situation. People are not happy when they get here. Now, this isn't stopping the government, like I said, from bringing as many people as they possibly can in.
Also increasing is Canada's population, and at a pace not seen in decades. The growth over the first 9 months of this year has already exceeded the total growth in any other full year. CTV's Kevin Gallagher on what's behind the boom.
Despite an affordability crisis, Canada is attracting immigrants at a record pace.
We've grown more in the last 3 months than traditionally we've grown in an entire year.
According to Statistics Canada, the country's population grew by more than 430,000 people between July and September, driving Canada's population above 40.5 million.
I've always dreamt of living on this part of the world, to live in a democratic, free nation.
Journalist Mahabat Atikanova and her chemist husband Sultan immigrated from Kazakhstan in September. The couple arrived in Toronto in the midst of a housing crisis and are already on the move.
Already on the move, already taken off, eh? Why would that be the case? Perhaps a lot of these people were brought here, drawn here by government programs, by other things that aren't actually very good. And in fact, what was it said? That these people are lucrative. They're lucrative assets.
That are giving them false hope across the country, but let's not make this a partisan issue.
Oh, replay this.
Look, international students are a credit to this country, Mr. Speaker. They are the future of this country, and they are an asset that is very lucrative, and we cannot let them down. Clearly, we need to work with provinces to make sure that they have proper housing, and we have to crack down on agents that are giving them false hope across the country, but let's not make this a partisan.
Well, they are getting false hope across the country, and that's just prevalent. Here's some guys from the Rockstar Inner Circle podcast talking specifically about this, these lucrative assets.
Conestoga made $140 million on tuition in the last 16 months. Do you know how many international students they brought in? Conestoga's got like 2 campuses, right? They're like the size of this building, they're not huge colleges. 30,000 they brought in 16 months. And so Conestoga is doing what any rational actor in that situation would do. Can we make $140 million if we open up a bunch of 1-year, dog shit programs for international students who want to come here and get permanent residence? If the answer is yes, I mean, I don't have to draw the flow chart for you. We do it. And if the answer is no, then we go.
Nick and I were looking at the enrollment into their hairstyling program. It's a 12-month hairstyling or hairstylist program. And then half the people drop out because what was happening, we came to understand, is they get here, they start taking the class, but then they get a job somewhere. And if they get a job somewhere, that allows them to kind of stay on and get permanent resident status. And so they were kind of just using the course as this alternate immigration.
Alternate immigration. This is what they're talking about. But do you need an alternate immigration with policies like this?
I'm pleased to share that Canada intends to maintain its target of welcoming 485,000 new permanent residents in 2024 and 500,000 in 2025. Starting in 2026, the number of newcomers we aim to welcome will stabilize at 500,000.
Stabilize at 500,000 per year, folks, per year. This is what we're talking about in a country with 40 million people in it. Stabilize at 500,000. I'll get into what their plans are and why they want to bring that many people into the country. But here's Justin Trudeau sitting down with Rosemary Barton. And when the CBC stops buying into Trudeau's plans and perhaps don't believe exactly what he's doing is the right thing, then you know you got a problem, Justin Trudeau.
But is it possible that people no longer like the solutions you have or no longer think the solutions you've put on the table are adequate?
I don't worry so much about that because they're not looking to Poilievre because he's got all these solutions. He's not putting any solutions on the table at all. The solutions he does venture forward, people, experts, not us, criticize as riddled with inaccuracies and unworkable and not going to solve the problem. So we are putting forward meaningful solutions. It's just so much of this is linked to international context. Inflation's high everywhere. It's better in Canada, but that's no comfort when people are having trouble paying their groceries. This is a reality right now that we are working incredibly hard to solve day by day, step by step, and it's starting to work. But Canadians are still frustrated at not feeling it yet, and I totally understand that.
Yeah, nothing's really working when it comes to that. Building tens of thousands of homes in the next decade to house hundreds, millions of people. I'll get into that. Here's Pierre Poilievre kind of dodging the question here of the 500,000 people number, but actually giving some idea of what his policy would be.
What's wrong with the 500,000 target in your mind? You call it a vanity project. What's wrong with that target?
I think what's wrong is Justin Trudeau's incompetence. So far, we've seen a totally incompetent Justin Trudeau.
What would you do with the target?
What will I do? I'll make sure we have housing and health care so that when people come here, they have a roof overhead and care when they need it. I'll make sure that it's easier for employers to fill genuine job vacancies they cannot fill. I will make sure, furthermore, sorry, it's not a debate. You have a question, I'll give you my answer. My answer is that we will also ensure that immigrants who come here as professionals get a chance to work in their profession. After 8 years of Trudeau, there are now 20,000 immigrant doctors and 32,000 immigrant nurses that can't work in our hospitals, while we have massive waiting lines. It boils my blood to think that my little girl sits in a waiting room for hours with her with a headache or a migraine when there are brilliant immigrant doctors that could be treating her, but for the fact that there's no direct way for them to take a test and prove their qualifications. That's why I proposed a Blue Seal national standard that would allow professionals to take an exam, prove they're qualified, and work anywhere in Canada. We did this in 1952 for the trades.
Set targets, Sarah. What target would you set?
We did this in the trades with the Red Seal in 1952, and it was the federal government that brought the provinces together to get it done. So that the target I would set is to get a Blue Seal that would allow professionals to prove their qualifications, get to work so we can improve our health care.
We could bring some back that we fired during the COVID pandemic, but that's another story altogether. So why is he dancing around this? Well, largely my thought on this is this guy. He doesn't want to be labeled as this guy if he says shut down the borders, that kind of thing. He doesn't want to be seen as Donald Trump and compared to Donald Trump because he wants to win over liberal voters. But some of the rhetoric that's out there is just crazy. Now, I'm giving you an example here. Is a guy named Klay Thompson on Twitter. He's got a following, proud Canadian, voted liberal for over 45 years. He's got a following. This guy is very serious when he says things like this. Today is a good day to remind Canadians that 2 years ago, Pierre Poilievre participated in an attempt to overthrow our democratically elected government. Is this serious? For real. Financially supported by Trump Republicans, he used his time to plan a coup against O'Toole. This traitor can never be PM. This can't be serious. I mean, he's talking about the Freedom Convoy and, James Topp, who marched across the country for his cause. And he's talking about that being an attempted coup or an overthrow of the government. This is the real. This is what. Is this serious? Come on. But this is a serious person, and he's seriously saying this on the internet. But this is the reality, and this is why Pierre Poilievre is dancing around this question. It's not that he always has. He has talked about this stuff. Here's a video right from his YouTube channel from only 7 months ago.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, after 8 years of this Prime Minister, everything is broken. But instead of fixing the basics, he's focused on another grand utopian project, that of his friend Dominic Barton, the multinational CEO, former ambassador to communist China, who helped bring about the opioid crisis that is savaging our working class families, has come up with a bright new idea that he's going to triple our national population to 100 million. Mr. Speaker, we don't need any more utopian schemes from globe-trotting millionaires and multinational insiders. What we need is some common sense for a change.
So it's not unheard of to hear Poilievre talking about these topics. He has spoken of it before. Here's another video from CTV News from only 5 months ago.
I want to get back to common sense immigration. The numbers should be driven by the number of employers who have job vacancies that they cannot fill with Canadians, by the number of charities that want to sponsor refugees, and by the families that can reunite and support their loved ones here. Not by egotistical targets that are designed to give Justin Trudeau a vanity project. We need to get back to competent immigration. By the way,
again, they're talking about the vanity project of bringing the population to 100 million people in Canada. And I'm not going to stick my pinky on my edge of my lip for that one. It's unbelievable. But yes, this is why the Conservatives have become largely popular, because of the rhetoric of Pierre Poilievre. And that's the thing. People do look to immigration as being a big issue, especially when it comes to the housing crisis here in Canada. We're not going to get out of a housing crisis by adding more and more people if we're not building the homes for people to purchase and get into. So this is a large factor that's driving the housing crisis in Canada, just the sheer number of immigrants coming in. And again, this is not from a position of anti-immigrant, anything like that. No, it's just there's no possible way we're going to triple our population and walk away from a housing crisis. Here's where we're at. Anyway, I'll leave this one for you guys in the comment section down below. How is it that we would possibly triple our population and walk away from this housing crisis? There's no way we're going to triple our housing in our country in the next few years. We need to make a slow roll on immigration. We need to slow things down massively. Yes, of course, let people in the country. This is what we've been founded and built on, but just not at this rate. It's just never been like this. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.